What's going on, guys? My name is Jake, aka Lime Soda, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2020 Electoral College map for the presidential election that is coming up between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Going to be recording my predictions here of most competitive states, predicting if they're going to go blue or red, just as a fun thought exercise to see how accurate I am after the election. However, you will notice the map is already partially filled out, and that's because these states are not competitive at all. California is most certainly going to go blue, and some of these southern states are very likely to go red, etc. Therefore, it's not really worth talking about them too much. Going to be going over these tan-colored states only. That being said, let's get started. I'm going to begin with the West Coast here, talking about the state of Nevada. Now, Nevada went blue in 2016, and it will likely stay blue. The current 538 polling aggregate has Biden up +6. Therefore, I'm going to give this one to Biden, a lean blue category. You can categorize how deeply the color blue or red you make these states. As you can see on the right here, a dark blue would be very safe, a lighter blue would be likely, and then the lighter color you get would be that tilt, which ideally is that under 1% mark if the race is super close. Moving on, below Nevada, we have Arizona. Now, Arizona did actually go red in 2016. However, Biden is leading around +3 in 2020. It could definitely go either way. That's within the margin of error. However, I'm going to give that a lean to Biden as a result of that polling data. There's that light blue color. New Mexico, however, bordering Arizona, is a bit of an easier decision. It went blue in 2016, and Biden's actually polling around 10 points up here. That is a strong, safe blue state for Biden. And the same can be said about Colorado. It is polling over 13 points for Biden currently. Now, Nebraska here, moving on to the Great Plains, is definitely a solidly red state. However, one interesting I learned in the last couple months is there's 2 congressional districts in Nebraska that actually give an electoral vote based on who wins the popular vote of the district itself and not just the state. So Nebraska's first district is already marked red here because it's pretty heavily red. However, the second district in Nebraska is Biden is up by just a couple percentage points. If I go to 538 here, Biden is up by a comfortable 6.3, even a little more than I thought. So going to be comfortably giving that one electoral vote to Biden in Nebraska's second district. We'll go with a likely because it's only a 6-point lead. Now let's go down to the south and go to Texas, which has definitely dominated the news cycle regarding this election. Just got back from Texas. It's a wonderful state, and Trump currently leads by around 1.2 percentage points. That is an insanely tight race. It could definitely go either way. We are seeing some unprecedented early voting down there. It was just reported that more people voted early in the 2020 election than overall in turnout in 2016 so far. And we haven't even gotten to the election day itself voters, who are definitely more likely to vote for Trump. With all this being said, I am going to give this a tilt to Trump just because he is in fact still leading by 1% in the polls. And I would need just a little more evidence if Biden were to overtake this state but don't be surprised if Texas does indeed go blue this election. It has been trending blue for quite a while, but my current prediction is Trump will narrowly hang on. Moving on to the region of the Midwest/Great Plains here, I'm going to talk about Iowa. Now, Iowa is a bit of a unique state because Obama famously won it in both 2008 and 2012. However, Clinton then lost it pretty badly in 2016, losing by around 10% to Trump. And Trump even flipped the most Obama counties of any state here in Iowa. In 2020, however, things have changed a bit. Iowa is pretty much in a dead heat, with Biden leading by a whopping 0.3%. So basically statistically tied within the margin of error. For that reason, I am also going to give this one a tilt to Trump, since he did win it in 2016 after all, and it's going to take me a little more data and convincing that Biden's able to flip that state more than just 0.3% lead in the polls. That is a tilt to Trump. Directly north of Iowa, though, is Minnesota, which is my current state, and that's going to be safely blue for Biden this election. He's leading by around 8 percentage points. I guess technically the likely category might make a bit more sense than a safe blue. In 2016, things did get very close in Minnesota, however, where Clinton narrowly won the state by only 2 percentage points, which was much less than how Obama carried the state in 2008 and 2012. Now with Wisconsin, my home state, my pride and joy, the state of great tasting cheese. This is the state that Trump famously flipped in 2016, winning by the narrowest of margins, 0.7%, which is the equivalent of around 30,000 votes. In the 2018 midterms, however, there was some good news for the Democrats, as the incumbent Republican Governor Scott Walker was defeated by the Superintendent of Public Education, Tony Evers. In addition to that, their Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin was reelected, winning by 10% in that same election, which is a comfortable victory for her. In regards to 2020, however, things are looking decently well for Joe Biden. He is currently up by 8.6 points and has been steadily leading for over 6 months now. So I am going to give this one a likely victory to Joe Biden to give those 10 electoral votes to the Democrats with Joe Biden. Directly to the east is Michigan, another Midwestern state that Trump flipped in 2016 by, again, a narrow margin. This time around, however, things aren't looking so good for Trump. He's actually down by 9.1 points per 538's polling aggregate. And that's going to be tough for Trump to overcome. That's well above the margin of error, I should say. Going to give this one also a likely to Joe Biden. Now, you only need 270 electoral votes to win the election, so you can see that things are going pretty well for Biden so far with my predictions. He only needs 19 more electoral votes to win. Now, the last Midwestern state we're going to talk about in this video is Ohio, and this is definitely the most favorable one for Trump that is competitive, at least. Trump is currently up 0.9% in the polls here in Ohio, which is definitely narrower than he'd like, I'm sure. However, I am going to base my decision off of that data, and it's basically a toss-up, but going to give this one a tilt to Trump. Ohio's been trending a bit more red compared to a lot of the other Midwestern states that have been trending blue, at least since 2016. Now we're going to make our way up the East Coast, and then we'll go down south to round out the video. Pennsylvania. Some pundits are calling Pennsylvania one of the most important states of this election. It does have quite a few electoral votes in 20, compared to just 10 in Wisconsin and 16 in Michigan. It had a blue result in 2012 with Obama's victory. However, Trump did narrowly win it in 2016 by around 0.7%, another one of those razor-thin margins. Biden has a comfortable lead of around 5% currently in this election, according to 538's polling aggregate once again. For that reason, I'm going to give this a likely Joe Biden victory, though it is still possible for Trump to win Pennsylvania. Don't get me wrong. New Hampshire, I feel like this should have been marked to begin with. It is very solidly blue, safe state for the Democrats and Joe Biden. He's leading by double digits there. Maine is also solidly blue. However, just like Nebraska, it does divvy up a couple of its electoral votes based on its congressional district and how the district votes. And the first district is pretty safely blue, I believe. It went blue in 2016. And from what I could tell from doing some research, the second district is also likely to go blue. So that's going to give another electoral vote to the Democrats. Moving down now to Virginia with 13 electoral votes up for grabs. Biden actually leads a lot more than I thought. I really hadn't looked at Virginia's polling ever before this, and he's leading by double digits, so that's going to be a very likely state for Biden. North Carolina is a lot closer. Trump won this state in 2016 by 3.6%. It's very close here in the 2020 election. Biden is leading around 2 points. Therefore, I am going to give it a lean to Joe Biden, but that 2% is definitely within the margin of error, and don't be surprised if Trump takes North Carolina. Only 2 states left to cover, Georgia and Florida. Now, Georgia is pretty unique in that it's gone red consistently the last couple elections. I was surprised to learn that even Obama did not win this state in 2008 or 2012, and Trump won it comfortably in 2016 by around 5 points. However, the polling right now for the 2020 race actually does have Biden leading by the thinnest of margins at 1.7% in the polls. I don't really know too much else about Georgia, so I'm just going to make my decision off the polls. Going to give this one a tilt to Joe Biden, but I would not be surprised if Trump and the Republicans are able to pick up that state. Last but not least, with 29 electoral votes remaining, is Florida. Now, Florida is, of course, one of the most historic swing states in the entire union. That whole fiasco at the 2000 election. Trump did win Florida in 2016 by only 1.2%. Now, Florida is still very close, as per usual. Biden did up his lead from Clinton, though, and is now polling 2.2% above Trump in that 538 polling aggregate, which is still in that margin of error. Just talking about the race as a whole now, Trump definitely needs Florida to win the election. If Biden wins Florida, his odds of winning the Electoral College and the election go up drastically. And the cool thing is, Florida will actually be one of the states we know the election result of on election night. whereas a lot of the states might come in the following days from still counting mail-in ballots, etc. With all that said, I am going to again put this as a tilt to Biden, but I would definitely not be surprised if Trump won Florida. All right, well, there you have it. That concludes my 2020 electoral map predictions. Final result, Joe Biden with 351 electoral votes. Donald Trump with 187. This is, don't get me wrong, I'm well aware this is this would be an incredible scenario for the Democrats and Joe Biden. This electoral map is indeed a landslide, and what it's going to come down to is a lot of those tilt and likely states where, yeah, Biden's leading in all these states in the polls, but by only 2 to 3%. And a few of them are bound to be wrong. It's just a matter of how many. And if Texas goes blue, then obviously it's over. Especially if it's called on election night. No one will be stressing about who won the election. We'll just know that Biden won if he does take Texas. Thank you for watching, guys, and let me know your predictions down in the comment section below. Peace.